that time again. Another day for another win. We ain't never gonna relent. We going hard, never giving in. Hey yo, it's time for another one. Yeah, we on another run. We ain't never leaving. The competition we don't see. This is winning season. This is winning season. It's that time again. Another day for another win. We ain't never gonna relent. We going hard, never giving in. Hey yo, it's time for another one. Yeah, we on another run. We ain't never leaving. The competition we don't see. This is winning season. This is winning season. This is winning season.
Hello, welcome in live to Uncaged at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm Dylan Rivera. Alongside me, Coach Rodney Jones from the boys wrestling team. It's our first show in 2026. We're excited to be back here at Buffalo Wild Wings. And you guys have already been well underway in your season. 3 duels already up and down, and you're already at the midway point of your season. So let's start there. Just kind of recap these first 3 duels for me. You had Union, Ponca City, and Owasso already on the docket. What'd you see through those 3 duels?
Well, first of all, honored first show of 2026, so we're honored to kick it off. Wrestling's a funny sport in a lot of ways, and one of the ways that it's funny is we kind of have 2 different seasons. We have a season before Christmas break, and then obviously the most important time of the year is after the break. And so a lot of training through the fall, through September, October. In November, we have an opportunity to have 3 open tournaments, which we host the Joe Zamora Schuyler Holman Open at the beginning of the year. Then we have a couple more Union Open, and then the pre-Turkey in Edmond. And then after that is the first part of the season where we traveled to Ponca City, wrestled Ponca City, had a good night there, and then went to a real competitive tournament in Kansas, the Gardner-Edgerton Blazer Invitational, which is a great tournament for that time of year. It's a one-day tournament. A lot of great teams from kind of the area. A couple notable teams is Allen, Texas, which is a perennial nationally ranked program, multiple time Texas State champions. I don't know when the last time they didn't win a Texas State championship. Southeast Polk, Iowa is another team that's always in that Gardner tournament. So we get to see good competition. All of our guys get an opportunity to wrestle 5 matches, so it's perfect for that time of year because we're prepping and getting ready for arguably the toughest folk-style high school tournament in the nation every year, which is the Ironman in Ohio, Wash Jesuit High School that we travel to. And we've been traveling to now for 16, 17 years. We've been going out there. And once again, we went out there and we faced off and saw the best competition in the country, which is always good for us. And then we come back from that trip, spent a long day in the Charlotte airport because we missed a flight, but that's part of traveling. And then we finished that following week, which is the week before the break starts, with a duel against Union and then a duel against Owasso, which, we had good performances at both of those duels. So far 3-0 in duels. We were the Gardner-Edgerton champions. We had a good a tournament there. We had 3 champions in the tournament. Rudy Rojas was a champion. Jake Miller was a champion. Matthew Mann was a champion. And about the time you start gaining some momentum, about the time our guys start getting their weight under control and managed fairly well, we go on a break. And it's a long break, and it's a break that you consume a lot of unhealthy treats and basically train through that period of time. And this is the opening week, 2026, and we're looking forward to getting on the road tomorrow and traveling to Piedmont for a duel, and then being at the Gary Invitational on Friday and Saturday.
So that's one thing I was going to touch on is going to Piedmont tomorrow. You've got that one on the docket, but then you've also touched on the Ohio tournament and the Gardner-Edgerton. These big tournaments that are, those two out of state, and then the Piedmont Gary Invitationals, maybe the biggest in-state. So what do those do for your team to see some of the highest level competition early on in the season, so that way when it comes late in the season, you guys might be a little bit better prepared?
Well, I mean, that's kind of been a strategy that we've always have followed, as long as I can remember. We're Broken Arrow, so we need to seek out, top-notch competition every opportunity that we can. And this year is no different than any of the years in the past. Really good tournament in Kansas. Obviously, the tournament in Ohio is as competitive and as tough as they come. And then we come home and we'll see, all of the top 6A competition in the state, which is good for us. And we start out with the Gary Invitational, which they say is the longest lasting or standing high school wrestling tournament in the country in Gary, Oklahoma, which is pretty funny if you've ever been to Gary. It's a great place to visit. And we'll see a lot of 6A competition there, and then there's teams that come in from out of state, or the surrounding states, and it makes it a super competitive and possibly could be the most competitive in-state tournament of the year. When you're not talking about our regionals or our state tournament or anything like that, but you've got Tuttle, who's perennial 4A state champions every year. They're there. All the 6A schools are there, and then they bring in some other schools from out of state. So it's a very competitive, very, very challenging tournament. One of the unique things about the Gary tournament is it's a blind draw, which means you just get drew into the bracket. There's no seeds. There's nothing like that. So you could be on paper, the best kid in the bracket, and you may wrestle on paper the second best kid in the bracket in the first round.
Wow.
And that happens quite a bit. So it's unique, and it's interesting to wait and to see what the draws are. But we're just looking forward to getting out of the wrestling room, because we've been in the wrestling room now for, it seems like, a month, and getting on the road and facing some competition other than ourselves.
When you go into that Piedmont one, but you got a lot going on in January. The phrase that you used with me the other day was Manuary, because it makes you a man this month, right? So you guys have a hectic schedule over this next few weeks. What do you see from your team right now going into that stretch that gives you some confidence, but then also what do you hope to learn about your team over these next few weeks?
You're absolutely right. January is Manuary. We find out who we are in January, just because of the amount of competition that we have week in and week out. It's the bulk. The majority of our competition happens in January. We'll find out, hopefully, everything that we need to find out about our guys, and who's going to be, where they're going to be, where they stack up as far as compared to our competition as we get through January and we get into February. Once you get into February, it slows down considerably, because we'll have an early February duel with Edmond North, but that's basically, we consider the end of January. It's so soon. And then you're just looking at the postseason. You're looking at dual state regionals and the state tournament. So what I was stressing or talking to the guys about the entire time over the Christmas break is that this is the period of time that we're going to get to do some training, because once we get into January, there's going to be so much competition. We're not going to have 3 or 4 days to put together any sort of hard training. So that's what the message I was trying to get across to them. I think they understood that. We had a real good Christmas break as far as training goes, and I think right now, everybody's excited to compete.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys getting ready to hit the big portion of your season, and I know that's always exciting, and all the guys look forward to competition. I mean, they get tired of being in the wrestling room and going against each other. They want to wrestle somebody else.
I hope so.
That's for sure. But one thing that you also spoke with me about is that you felt like this might be one of your most balanced teams that you've had in years, top to bottom, 14 guys that you can throw out there and really feel confident in. Just what about this team makes you feel so confident? What's different about this year maybe than past years?
Well, I think our depth, I think, when you talk about having a balanced lineup and the challenges that come with what this sport is about, and that's about 14 weight classes, 14 wrestlers in 14 different weight classes, which is, if you think about it, that can be challenging, right? If you have a wrestler whose sweet spot is a certain weight, but he may not be the best guy at that weight, and then you got to figure out, how to get him in the lineup, and sometimes, wrestlers are expected to sacrifice a little bit, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But when you put 14 guys out there, and especially at the high school level, there's sometimes a tendency that you may have 7 really, really, really high quality guys, and then maybe 3, pretty good guys, but then now you're looking at 4 that are probably somewhere around 500 or below if you're looking at their overall records. What you want is, when you talk about a balanced team, is you want 14 weight classes that can qualify for the state tournament, not just qualify for the state tournament and not just score points at the state tournament, but you want to put as many guys as you can in the finals, and you want to put as many medals around their necks as possible. And in this being possibly one of the more balanced teams that we've had in whatever amount of years in the past, is we have the potential to have maybe 14 state placers. How many state finalists, how many state champions, like I tell them, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But balance from the lightest weight to the heaviest weight, could we come home with 14 medals? And realistically, that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always the goal, of course. And this is a year that you guys may have a real open opportunity to do that, because it feels like the playing field is very level this year between a lot of the top teams. So just what gives you confidence about this year's team that you can get to that stage?
Well, experience. Experience is always a big factor. It's not hard to take the end of the year results from any year and take the guys that you have returning from the year before and being like, okay, this is where they finished this year, and this is the possibility of where they could finish for the next upcoming year. And then you can do that, it's pretty simple. You can do that across the board with every team in the class. And, when you do that and you put it on paper and you look at it, and you see the number of guys that you have returning and the potential those guys have for the upcoming year. And then you also factor in the guys that are coming of age, the young guys that are going to be freshmen, or the young guys that are going to be sophomores, and they're ready now to step in and fill, whatever vacancies we may have had from the year before. When you do that and you put them in those 14 slots and you look at them, you're looking pretty much at all of them as guys that have quite a bit of experience.
Yeah.
And when even though they could be young, and some of them are freshmen and some of them are sophomores, but they've had success. They've had success at every level that they've been at. They're junior high state champions, or they're junior high state placers. They understand the amount of work that has to go into being successful at this level. And they kind of fill in and fit in easier than maybe you have sometimes with different guys in different teams. So we're just really confident with the guys that we have coming in. We have the confidence in the guys that we have coming back, and the way that they're working right now and the way that they're getting ready and things like that doesn't do anything but give us confidence.
Yeah. For anybody that hasn't seen you all wrestle this year, is there anybody that you point to and say there's this handful of guys really pops off the page, and these are guys you're going to really want to take note of? I mean, there's a few that I think are given, and you mentioned a couple of them already, but anybody maybe new that really will surprise some BA fans?
Well, I don't want to jump out and put the cart in front of the horse too fast, and because they are young, and like I said, January is going to be a big month for them. But
January, right?
January, absolutely. we could get into naming, all of them, honestly. Starting obviously with Jake Miller, returning two-time state champion, three-time state placer, committed to Iowa State, kind of as that leader as far as accomplishments and all of those things. But then, you throw in Matthew Mann, who I think you're going to speak with. He's been in the program for a long time. He understands completely what he's getting into. Returning state placers from last year, Rudy Rojas at who's going to be at 120. Colton Barlow is a returning state qualifier. Diesel Pedersen, we can kind of go down the line. Diesel Pedersen's a returning state qualifier. We've got freshmen like Gannon Wilson and Jordan McKinney that are going to try to make their mark as young wrestlers in a really, really tough class, 6A. Evan Notley's a guy that's been in the program for as long as I can remember, but he's always kind of been behind really, really good guys, and he's a senior that's finally going to get to break through and make the starting lineup. And although he's not been the guy the past several years, he still has a lot of wrestling experience, and he still has a lot of wrestling ability, so we're excited about him. We got newcomers like Brock McKnight at 190 comes in from wrestled in Texas last year, and he has a lot of experience, and he works extremely hard. Titan Hicks is a guy that's joined our program with experience at the state tournament, two-time state finalist, returning state champion. Yep. We're excited to see what January does for him. And then at heavyweight, we had a challenge match today, and we're trying to figure out who our heavyweight's going to be. And there's probably going to be more challenge matches in our future in different positions to find out who our representative is going to be at each individual weight, which, for a coach to have ranking matches, one teammate against another teammate, which is completely normal. It's not my most favorite thing in the world, right? But it's part of the game. So all of those guys, and I'm sure I didn't mention somebody or left somebody off. Davey McConnell is a senior that's coming back, was a returning state placer for us last year. So we have quite a few guys that have a really, really high level of experience that can fill in and step in and win a lot of wrestling matches for us this year. And that's probably is one of the things that got us most excited about this team.
Yeah, really high ceiling this year, and that's something that's easy to be excited about.
For sure.
Last question I'll ask you is just, you had mentioned about going to Piedmont for the Gary tournament, Gary Invitational. But you'd also told me that you guys are sending a crew out to Inola here pretty soon. So you guys like to split up a little bit every now and then. So you got to deal with not just one tournament, but a whole nother one as well.
Well, I mean, that's how Broken Arrow High School, Broken Arrow Wrestling, that's how we do it. We have this group going to Piedmont tomorrow night, and then to Gary over the weekend. And we come out of the new year, like shot out of a cannon. Yeah. I mean, there's no easing our way into the new year. We're sending another full varsity team, which we would consider our second group, to a varsity tournament in Inola, and it's something that we've done forever and ever and ever. Always trying to give as many kids opportunities to compete as we can. Mm-hmm. And not only are 14 guys going to Inola, but I think there's another additional 9 or 10 guys that are going to get to compete in that tournament as well. And that's a varsity tournament. We're not going to tournaments that are classified as JV tournaments. Right. I mean, these are high school varsity tournaments. So we could possibly have close to 24, 25 guys wrestling varsity competition in Inola while we're, traveling to Piedmont and to Gary. And then on top of that is we'll have a large group of junior high wrestlers going to the Glenpool Duels on Saturday. Yeah. So, as far as the program goes, that's 3 different teams going in 3 different directions. And it's something that requires a lot of work from your coaches, a lot of effort from your coaches, and as a program as a whole. But it's something that we've always done, and we think it's extremely the best thing for our guys is to get experience, competition. Mm-hmm. And so any opportunity we have to expose them to competition, then that's what we're going to do. And it's not just this week. We'll have just as busy of a week next week that we're having this week. We'll be at the Sand Springs tournament. We'll wrestle Stillwater on Thursday night. We'll wrestle at the Sand Springs tournament over the weekend. Our second group will go to the Catoosa tournament. And then our middle school will go to the Perry Junior High tournament. So once again, next week, we're all going in different directions.
Wrestling never sleeps is what I'm hearing.
January, I'll tell you, you got to survive January. You can survive January and get into February, and everybody's healthy and everybody feels good. That's what it's all about.
You can relax after state. Right now, it's a full go.
Well,
right?
After January, it seems like things get a little bit easier to manage.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we'll have to see how January plays out, Coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you joining me up here. We'll talk to Jake Miller and Matthew Mann here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on Uncaged.
All in all, there's not a better place to work.
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
It's very fulfilling.
The work that we do is hard. The work that we do changes people's lives.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job. It's a calling.
Hey Tigers, I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon. The city is preparing for the next general obligation bond election in April of 2026. Just like the improvements to Albany Street in front of the high school, bonds help pay for upgrades to public infrastructure like streets and intersections, public safety services, parks improvements, and more here in our great community. To find out more about the bond process, visit the city website. Thank you for helping us build our future. Broken Arrow, enjoy the rest of the game.
While you are teaching someone special the nuances of keeping the wheel steady, we can provide you means for you to maintain financial equilibrium. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. First people put people first.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
Hey Tigers, get the only card that donates to Broken Arrow Public Schools every time you use it. TTCU Federal Credit Union has donated more than $360,000 so far. Support the Tigers with your card today.
Oh, I got my order wrong.
This is me, Jessica. And this is...
Jessica?
Not my coffee. And my friend said, oh wait, Quick Trip. And she said, you don't have to tell me your name. Please, serve yourself. And I was all, oh, then this happened.
Yeah, someone stole my drink.
That's how I learned Quick Trip has lattes on tap, and I will never have to tell a barista my name again. Quick Trip, raise your coffee bar.
Welcome back live to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the Uncaged podcast. I'm Dylan Rivera. Alongside me, Jake Miller and Matthew Mann, two of the wrestlers here for our boys wrestling team, and two guys who have been really successful already this season, already successful in their careers here at Broken Arrow, and looking to cap it off again here with another state championship appearance. Guys, thank you for joining me first of all, but excited to get into the weeds of this season and what really is, as Coach Rod said, January. It's the difficult part of the season and where you really are going to grow up as a wrestler, right? But let's start with where you guys have already been. You guys have already been active, a few tournaments and invitationals under your belt. Jake, I know that you have been active, especially in that Ohio one. You came back with a little bit of a nice claim to fame, I guess you could say. So take me through, let's go there first, and the Ironman tournament up in Ohio.
Oh, the Ironman tournament, it's super tough. Every match is Division I level guy, and so you got to be mentally prepared the entire time. And each match is going to be a battle, and sometimes you come out of there a little beat up.
Yeah, you did come out a little bit beat up.
Yeah.
Your finger's looking pretty heavy right now. But you were able to fight that off a little bit and keep going through your matches, so that's pretty impressive in and of itself. But nursing that injury, how's that been, and are you looking forward to getting back to action?
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to getting back. I'm kind of tired of being on the sidelines, but I've just been doing my therapy, doing everything the doctors say, and hopefully I can get back as soon as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you mentioned, that Ironman Invitational, top-ranked matches, you're facing some of the best guys in the country every single time out. When you're going up against some of those big names that you're right there with in those recruiting classes, what's that like for you mentally? Are you going in just fired up and like, I'm ready to take on this challenge?
I kind of just, I trust that I put the work in when I trained, and that I'm going to be capable of going out there and winning that match because of my training.
And Matthew, obviously you were also busy in that tournament as well, and a few others. Take me through that one and what your experience was like, and then let's bounce it over to Gardner Edgerton after that and walk me through that.
Yeah, Ironman's, it's a real, I guess, a humbler, you could say. It's, you go in there and, you can wrestle in state and just have all the success in the world, and then you go to Ironman, which is just the toughest competition in the U.S., and then it's a real eye-opener that just how good some of the other competition is. And so I went in, and this year I've seen a lot more success than I have in the past, and I think my confidence has been up a whole lot higher than normally, and really just trusting my ability and really just relying on my confidence. And I did solid. I feel like I would have liked to have gone farther, but it was definitely just like an eye-opener that I can compete with anybody. And so that was the biggest takeaway I had from it.
It's a measuring stick is what it is.
Absolutely.
You can see where you line up against some of the best competition. Before we get to Gardner Edgerton, actually, let's talk about getting stuck in Charlotte. You guys end up having your connections missed. You're staying in Charlotte, a whole team of wrestlers and coaches, and everybody's hanging out at the airport. What was that like for you guys? Were you kind of team bonding a little bit, or how was it?
Well, no, I think the first thing that we did is we all set our stuff down. We took a couple-hour nap.
Yeah.
Just all of us kind of on the ground, which was, I don't know. It was weird.
Coach had said you guys were often going and buying snacks. He was like, every 30 seconds, somebody was going and buying a snack. So I'm sure that kept you a little busy, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Then you guys go from there to you go to the Gardner Edgerton, Gardner, Kansas. Talk to me about that one, Matthew, and what you saw from your vantage point in that tournament.
Gardner's another just great one. There's some tough, loaded, nationally ranked guys there, and they do it a little bit different. There's pool play, and then you go into a gold, silver, and bronze bracket. So it's a guaranteed, no matter how good you are, you're going to get a lot of matches in, and so that's just a great tournament just to be a part of. Just as the team, I think everybody grows. Individually, I had a great tournament. Thought I wrestled really well. I think I really was another confidence booster for me, and overall, I think it was a great trip.
Yeah, and you guys have been really successful to start this season. You end up coming back in state. You've got 3 duels against 3 different schools: Union, Owasso, and Ponca City. You guys win all of those ones. Is there anything that stuck out to you, Jake, from those 3 duels against those 3 schools?
Kind of from top to bottom, I felt like that. We dominated the entire time. The scores were really lopsided, and I felt like that we wrestled pretty good as a team.
Yeah. Matthew, does that give you guys some confidence going into the next duel when you guys are able to kind of just manhandle the other school?
Absolutely. And it also just, we're kind of, the scores are lopsided, but at the same time, we're getting to see, where we're struggling, what guys individually, okay, this is what you need to work on, right? It's really just prep for, later down the line in February when it's postseason, and we really got to be at our best. And so these duels like that are they're really helpful to see where we are and be realistic with yourself.
Before we get into what's ahead for you guys, I kind of want to ask maybe some more individual questions of things like your prep before a match. So, Jake, for you, last hour or 2 before you guys hit the mat, what are you doing? What's your regiment like? Or what are you thinking in those hours?
I try to get some carbs, drink some fluids, and then, we go through the warm-up. And then, I tried about 5 or 6 matches out, start getting ready and start getting loose. And then I just gradually keep on getting my mind ready the closer I get, and then it's time.
Are you a guy that kind of likes to isolate yourself, listen to music, and be alone, or do you like to be around some other people and kind of fire yourself up that way?
I like to isolate myself. I don't really like listening to music. For me, it doesn't really. I feel like that I perform worse when I listen to music.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I just kind of I'm alone with my own thoughts, and I just get ready that way.
Yeah, take in the natural sounds of the wrestling room, right? That's what it is. Matthew, for you, what's that like, those last couple hours before you guys go out there?
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar to Jake's. It's, refuel, get hydrated, and we get a good workout in, get a good sweat going. But yeah, whenever it gets closer to time, I don't like to, feel super isolated or, try to amp myself up too much with music. I just think that I just like to stay calm. Maybe have the occasional talk, but, at the same time, kind of getting locked in and getting ready for, what's to come. But I just think that, just staying loose and it just helps me stay ready and not think about it too much, not get in my head and, just loose and ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. I was able to go to practice this week and watch you guys a little bit in action, and you guys were doing kind of almost like a walkthrough, per se. You were going kind of situation by situation. And as you were doing that, I was like, okay, this looks pretty good, and I'm getting it. And then I see you guys go full speed, and I was like, okay, I couldn't do that. I had to kind of take a step back. But you guys were going so quick. You guys are constantly trying to find that advantage on your opponent. So my question here to you is, when you're in the midst of a match, you're in the midst of being knotted up with a guy from another school, what exactly is going through your mind, and what are you trying to think of in those moments, Jake?
For me, it's just, try to get to my ties, to my offense, and just to keep on scoring points.
So are you a guy that kind of looks at it more of an aggressive offensive type of way, or are you kind of defensive minded? Does that make sense? Is that a thing? I'm kind of asking that. Is that
that's a thing. I try to go out there and score points and be offensive minded, but sometimes it depends on the wrestler, the other guy, and, sometimes he's really good too, and so you might have to have more of a defensive strategy to go out there and win.
Yeah. Matthew, what's that like for you when you're on the mat? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as the whistle blows, I think I'm just going out there kind of feeling them out first, just see what their hand fight's like, what, aggression is like. So it's definitely different from person to person. But, once I get past, the feel out process, then I'm starting to think more strategically, can I fire off some shots? Can I get some pressure going? And, this is all the way throughout the match, so, one guy you might be able to just kind of dominate and toss around, but another guy, it's going to take you all 3 periods to eventually break the guy and start really opening up some offense. So everybody's kind of different, but that's genuinely what I'm doing.
Right. Going forward, obviously the goal is to reach a state tournament and then win it. But the tougher question is the how, right? How do you get there? And for you, Jake, just you individually, how do you reach that stage?
Well, right now, the first things first is to get back and get healthy and get back on the mat. Hopefully get a few matches under my belt so I can get back to how I was before I was injured. And then, just trust in your training when you get there, and everything will work out.
Yeah. Matthew, what about for you?
Yeah, I mean, everything comes back to your training. It's if you're putting in the work and putting in the hours and really training hard, then I don't think that it should come as a shocker that'll help you get far. So that's just always what I'm doing. Every day in practice is an opportunity, and I need to go in every day and just really try to work on what things that I'm struggling on, things that I need to work past, and just always making my breaking point going farther than it was the day before. So that's the main thing, and that'll lead you just a long way, just not just in wrestling but in life as well.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking about practices, you guys have both brought up training and practices a lot. I know over this last stretch of time over the winter break, a lot of your classmates are probably hanging out and doing fun things. You guys are in the wrestling room, which is fun to you guys at least. But you guys are working hard, and they're pushing you guys as far as you can go. I know over these last few weeks it's been really hitting it hard. Maybe this is more of a question for Matthew since you've kind of been a little bit on the outskirts of it, but only taking a couple of days off during this winter break, and you guys have really been going at it. What's that been like for you guys?
Well, obviously it's hard. That's the main thing, is that it's hard. These practices, Coach Rod is on us every day, just trying to get us to our breaking point. And, there's days when it's really hot and, you really are struggling. And so I think that's the main thing is, we had some people just come back from football, the people that obviously need to be pushed mentally, and everybody as a team needs to be pushed mentally. So I think that's a big part of it. But obviously, it's just consistency. Like, this is a time whenever we don't have competition for 2-3 weeks. So this is the time whenever you really need to be disciplined about just consistency, showing up every day, and just putting in the work.
You mentioned that Coach Rod's really been on top of you guys, and that made me think. I really want to ask Jake this, because when I was at practice the other day, Coach Rod was working with you one-on-one, and I feel like in most sports, I don't see that very often, where the coach is out there in the midst of it with you guys and going through the drills sometimes with you guys. What's that like when you've got a head coach that's willing to strap up and do it with you?
Oh, it's great. Coach Rod, he'll jump in there sometimes and wrestle with me. He'll put his stuff on and he'll cut weight with the guys. And that's great to see. And I feel like that really helps us when when you're having a hard time getting your weight down, and he puts his stuff on and gets out there with you.
Yeah, so that's a good example for sure. And then speaking of good examples, you've got a dad that's also on the staff, so you've been able to have plenty of training outside of the wrestling room. What are those moments like when you're with your dad? I'm sure at home there's a lot of wrestling. What is that like for you?
It's great, and I really like it. He's always exploring options, trying to get me better. He sends me 5 to 10 videos almost a day, it seems like, of just, moves and techniques, that he's just trying to find ways to, help get me better, and I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah, definitely. And then you've been able to lock down a commitment to Iowa State, and obviously I got to talk to you about that, since this is our first chance to really get to hear your thoughts on that, and just how excited are you to go to Iowa State, number one, but then number two, what led you there?
I'm super excited. They're right now they're ranked number 3 in the country, and they got rich history, and so I couldn't be more excited to go there. And what led me there was the history, and then how good they are this year, and then they have a really good coaching staff that are all kind of fit my style, I feel like, and so that's ultimately what led me there.
Matthew, I know your goal is also to wrestle in college, so for you trying to get to that stage, how's that been for you?
It's been good. I think the main thing right now is just to stay patient. Currently, I'm not committing to somewhere or anything, and so right now I think I just need to be patient about it, not just completely focus on that. I just need to go out there and wrestle to my absolute best ability, and I think the offers that I want will start to open up, and so I'm not overly focused on it and not putting it into a place where it's like, oh man, I gotta wrestle my absolute best if I want to get to the place where I want to be. I just need to go out and wrestle and have a good time. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the right attitude to have. Last question I'll ask you guys is just about your confidence level in the team itself. We heard Coach Rod talk just a moment ago about what his aspirations are and where he thinks this team can go. So, Jake, from your perspective, what have you seen from this team that gives you some confidence that you guys can reach that championship stage?
Well, it's kind of started over this winter break. Coach Rod's really amped it up, and, we've had a lot of discussions about how he was going to push us harder to try and get us to the next level. And, I saw everyone, for the most part, rise to the occasion, I felt like, and so that's what has me feeling confident in this team that we can get it done.
Matthew, what's the things look like from your side of
Yeah, I really think we're a brotherhood, and I think that, every practice everybody's working to the best of their ability and really trying to push past their limits, and that's the main thing. That's what's going to drive us to, win the state championship come February and March. So it's just a great feeling to have, being surrounded by a group of guys that is just committed as much as you are, and so we just need to keep on that pace and really just stay, tight with each other as a brotherhood, and I think this can come true.
I'm excited to see how this season goes for you all, because I think you guys have a really high ceiling, and you guys can get it done for sure. So appreciate you guys coming up here on the set with me, and we appreciate you guys tuning in, but we've still got one more portion of this show to go. We're going to have Titan Hicks and Colton Barlow join me next here on Uncaged.
All in all, there's not a better place to work.
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
It's very fulfilling.
The work that we do is hard. The work that we do changes people's lives.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job. It's a calling.
Hey Tigers, I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon. The city is preparing for the next general obligation bond election in April of 2026. Just like the improvements to Albany Street in front of the high school, bonds help pay for upgrades to public infrastructure like streets and intersections, public safety services, park improvements, and more here in our great community. To find out more about the bond process, visit the city website. Thank you for helping us build our future. Broken Arrow, enjoy the rest of the game.
While you are teaching someone special the nuances of keeping the wheel steady, we can provide you means for you to maintain financial equilibrium. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. First people put people first.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
Hey Tigers, get the only card that donates to Broken Arrow Public Schools every time you use it. TTCU Federal Credit Union has donated more than $360,000 so far. Support the Tigers with your card today.
Oh, I got my order wrong.
This is me, Jessica. And this is Jessica, not my coffee. And my friend said, oh wait, Quick Trip. And she said, you don't have to tell me your name. Please, serve yourself. And I was all, oh, then this happened.
Yeah, someone stole my drink.
That's how I learned Quick Trip has lattes on tap, and I will never have to tell a barista my name again. Quick Trip, raise your coffee bar.
Welcome back live to Uncaged. We're here at Buffalo Wild Wings. One more portion of the boys wrestling show. I'm Dylan Rivera. Alongside me, Titan Hicks and Colton Barlow down there on the end. Two guys who, if you watch the football season, you'll recognize those names. We'll start there with football season, and then we'll get into the wrestling stuff. First of all, great season for you guys, and to be able to get all the way to the state semifinals, I know that was a big step for Broken Arrow football. Colton, you've been a part of this team since you've been little, so let's start with you. Growing up through the program and then seeing this big step taken forward for Broken Arrow football, what was that like for you?
It was really good. So I moved here in 7th grade, so I've been in the program for 7th grade. So we've always been we've been pretty good. We've been mediocre, I'd say. But this past year, we've stepped it up a lot. A lot of changes were made, how we run practice and everything. Like the whole culture was changed. So, and it needed to happen. So I appreciate everything Coach Hill has done. So, yeah. Then us going to the semifinals, obviously, that was like a big step for Broken Arrow. I feel like we're going to do even better next year because we got even more years, another year to build that culture and everything we need. So, yeah.
Well, this guy's going to leave, but you'll still be here at least.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who are coming back from last year's team to next fall. Just talk to me about your excitement for this 2026 season that's still a little bit ways away, but it comes up fast.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I feel like this is like the year for me to get it done. Obviously, it's my senior year, but I genuinely think we could win the state championship. So it's just about putting all that work in during the off season, being a leader for the team, helping them step up as well. So just really working hard, because we have the skill and everything we need. We just need to build that brotherhood and just get stronger as a team together.
Yeah, high expectations for sure for next fall. And Titan, you joined this program just prior to the season, so you got to ride out this senior year with this Broken Arrow football crew. What was that like for you just to join the Broken Arrow football family, and then for you to go all the way to the state semifinals with them?
It was pretty surreal. I mean, my dad was a football coach my whole life, so growing up, I could always see myself being at a 6A school, and then when I got to high school, I was at a little school, and when I did make the move, it was everything I really dreamed of when I was little, and just coming into that weight room that first day and seeing how different the culture is and just how much more serious everybody takes it, it was a life changer. I mean, it pushed me so much farther beyond I thought I could. So it definitely helps me out a whole lot, and it's going to help me in the long run too.
You found the end zone quite a bit this past fall. My question to you here is, did you ever try to plan any sort of celebrations? Because it seemed like you were usually kind of just, jump up with the O-lineman and head back.
No, I've never really been a big celebration guy. They kind of clowned me for it, said I needed to get a celebration in my bag because it was pretty terrible. But, it's in the moment, I'm just happy to be there. So I get the ball to the ref.
Except for at Emmett Memorial, when you spiked the ball pretty hard and got a penalty.
There's a little more tension running through right there, so emotions got the best of it.
Yeah.
I had to do my punishment for that. So
okay. Well, we can pivot now to wrestling season and where you guys are at now. And let's start with kind of that transition period from going football to wrestling. And what's that like to go from one sport to the other, and what translates, Colton, for you from the football field to the wrestling room?
So the hardest part is obviously the first couple of weeks transitioning back to wrestling. It's like hell week basically. It's terrible because you're just it's like the hardest thing you can imagine, because football shape and wrestling shape are like two completely different things. So you are on one side on the football, you feel pretty good when you're playing. I was playing a good amount, but right into wrestling, I felt so tired, just running sprints endlessly around the room. It just really wears on you. But after those first couple of weeks, you start to get into the flow of things. You start feeling more in wrestling shape, which helps out a lot. Yeah.
You're running laps around the room, but then the room is also what, 98 degrees?
Yeah, plus 100 plus. Yeah, it's terrible. It would be hard alone with just the conditioning we do, but plus that, it's already that makes it 10 times harder. So
Titan, I know that you were having to fluctuate your weight a little bit too. So is that a process for you?
Yeah, I came in the first week and I had to make 215. So coming out of, I think the day after we played Bixby, I was weighing 236.
Oh wow!
So it really was a hell week for me. And it was a rough one. But yeah, just piggybacking off of what Colton said, it's so rough coming in from a cold practice on a Thursday night to a 98 degrees room and just having to wrestle, because it's such a different feeling. Wrestling shape and football shape is just so different, and I can't even explain it.
But the second part of that question was, what do you think translates from the football field to the wrestling room? Is there anything that for you was easy to take from one to the other? Definitely
just trying to bring some more physicality. You still be physical in wrestling, exploding. You really gotta explode a whole bunch. So I had to bring that over. We got a bunch of explosion lifts with football, so it was nice already being there at least, and not being behind the curve from everyone else right there. So that was nice.
Yeah, and I know you guys have both already been at the biggest stage of wrestling and in those state tournament situations. So you guys know what the path to get there looks like for this season for you guys. How do you get there, Titan? I'll start with you.
Just keep working every day. Just got to keep giving it all I can, and really get my technique down. Really just get my stamina up, be able to go a whole match. It's a big thing for me, just being able to go a whole match right now.
Yeah. Colton, what about for you?
It's really about kind of like what he said, working hard, but also using that to maximize my potential, because I feel like my whole life, I've always had the skill to do everything I wanted to do, but it's really just finding that mindset and just flipping that switch of just me overcoming my tiredness, my exhaustion, and just letting my skills really just kick in. And obviously working on conditioning is like a big thing for me. So not gassing out in like the second or third, just really just harping on that conditioning part.
Well, that's one part of wrestling that is kind of the unspoken part, right? You're wrestling an opponent, but then you're also wrestling kind of within yourself, mentally and physically. So for you out on the mat, how are you trying to kind of combat that?
How am I trying to combat like the tiredness and the exhaustion?
The physicality of it.
Okay. Well, there's certain things that I am starting to do. Like when I need like a reset, I like pull down my singlet or something like that. That just kind of like gets me more focused, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then just really just having that goal and vision in your mind of just winning and just having that overcome the tiredness of like the goal of winning, because I want to win. Like that's like one of the funnest things in my opinion. So just like having that goal in the back of your mind to overcome your tiredness or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I want to go pre-match now in Titan. For you, those couple hours leading up to hitting the mat, what are you doing? What's your process like?
Oh man, I'm not I mean, if it's a big match, I'll put my headphones on, kind of isolate, but I mean, I'm really just there, just hanging around until I actually got to go wrestle.
Yeah. Are you more of a team guy? You want to be around your teammates, or you?
Yeah, it's always fun hanging out with them.
Yeah. Okay. Colton, what about you?
Yeah, for me, in like the past, I was a caffeine addict. Like I would like take like dry scoop a pre-workout and like take a shot of Mio. Like I always had to have like some sort of caffeine, but this year I've kind of found a way to work around that, like kind of just have like a steady flow of energy so I don't like peak and go down so fast. So I just try to be as calm as possible, to be honest, because I'm already so amped up. So the calmer I am, like the more focused I'll be, and like the more focused you are in a wrestling match, the better you're gonna do.
Yeah, for sure. When you guys are out there on the wrestling mat, and I asked this last year to a couple of different teams, like the swim team and stuff, is like when you're in the midst of it, how much do you hear what's going on around you? Like, are you able to hear the coaches and maybe mom and dad out in the stands? Do you hear any of that, or are you just kind of zoned in?
Yeah, definitely not the moms or dads in the stand. Like, I can't hear my mom at all, even though she's yelling loud. I already know. But I could hear my coaches sometimes. Yeah, you could hear your coaches, I'd say. It depends what, like, the moment, what side of the mat you're on,
right.
Like how much pressure the moment is. Like, if I'm in a scramble, I can't really hear my coach, but if we're in like a stance, I could probably hear my coach to see what I need to do.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge to mom to yell louder, is what that sounds like to me. Titan, what about you out on the mat? Are you able to hear anything, or are you kind of blocked out?
Growing up, I could always hear my mom. She was always pretty loud in the stands, and as I've gotten to high school, you know, my dad's had to like sit her down and make her chill out, because she'd get more nervous for matches than I would.
Yeah.
And it's just always funny seeing her up there stressing out while I'm just down there smiling.
Having the time of your life.
Yeah. But I feel like I can hear the coaches pretty good when I wrestle.
Yeah, good.
So that's not a very big thing for me, at least.
Let's go back to where you guys have already been, all the tournaments that you guys have had so far this season. Titan, just kind of take me through so far, maybe a summary of your season and what you've been able to accomplish so far.
Man, coming into that Edgerton tournament was rough. I had a rough week cutting the weight, wasn't in shape, so I ended up getting third. Probably lost a match I shouldn't have. I think if I had to wrestle it back right now, being in so much better shape, it would go a different way.
Yeah.
Going to Ohio was an experience. It really is the best of the best. It really will humble you real quick.
Yeah.
So other than that, I mean, I haven't lost any dual matches, so I'm looking forward to some January.
Yeah.
So just happy to see where this goes.
Yeah, for sure. Colton, for you, the early part of the season, how's it going?
Yeah, it's been going good. Like my first tournament back was the Edgerton tournament. Like that was like my first week. I had like 3 days of practice, I think 4 days at the most. So I was definitely a little rusty in there. So I ended up taking 5th, I think. So not up to my standards, but obviously a little rust was in there. Then obviously going to Ironman, I won a match, which is pretty good, but obviously not as good as I wanted to. But I haven't been able to win in the past, so that's been good. And the duels so far, I haven't lost at all in the duels, so I've been doing well in the duels. So
yeah, definitely breeds a lot of confidence, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And as you guys are going forward, you got a lot going on over this next month. Manuary is here, so first of all, just how excited are you to get out on the mat and take on a lot of the best competition across the state, Colton?
I'm so ready. I'm ready to prove myself, kind of redeem myself from last season, because I felt like I didn't do as well as I wanted to last season. So I'm ready to get out, go against the best competition, perform at my best, compete, and like never give up, no matter what scenario I am in the match. Just always keep on going, and that will like pan out to me winning more. So.
Colton, what's kind of your mindset, or not Colton, I'm sorry, Titan, what's your mindset as you close out this season here?
It's my last run. It's the last stretch of my wrestling career. So I'm just really gonna pour everything out that I have left and give it my all. I mean, it'd be real cool to be a two-timer, especially being in 6A. So, I mean, with this last little stretch coming to an end, just like 60 days left, and I just got to get everything I got.
Yeah, well, looking forward to it. I'm excited to see how you guys fare out in Piedmont, the Gary tournament this Thursday, and then over into the weekend, and then, of course, out at Inola as well. So you guys are busy over these next couple of days, and especially over this next couple of weeks. So it'll be a lot of fun to see you guys hit the mat. So appreciate you guys joining me here, and we appreciate you for tuning in here on Uncaged. We'll close things out here. Next week, we may have the girls wrestling team in. We'll see. But 2 weeks from now, we will have the swim team here at Buffalo Wild Wings. You want to tune into that one or come in, of course, to this great establishment and get some wings. We thank you for tuning in. Have a great night, everybody.